Geekazine and Geek Smack is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network over at techpodcast.com. If it's tech, then it's here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to another episode of Geek Smack, where we smack the geek out of you like we smack the geek out of figuring out how many Legos it'll take to build an actual house. We've gotten that and a whole bunch more. We're going to be talking about Chrome app and Firefox app for the iOS system and how that might be a good thing for you guys. And of course, we're going to talk about Google I/O and the Nexus 7, blah, 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 all that other stuff. And we're going to do that next. And guess what? Hey, we're totally ad-free. We're not going to do any ads. It's way too hot to do any ads, so let's just get into the show right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to the show we call Geek Smack, the show that smacks the geek out of you like Google I/O smacked last week, or me for the Ford conference for that matter. It was an awesome week of a lot of stuff, and let me just get to the right page here. I was out in Dearborn, Michigan for a major Ford event, what they call Go Forward with Ford, and had a lot of fun driving vehicles. I got to drive a police interceptor, which is an actual cop car, and got to drive it around a track. That was awesome. We learned a lot about the Ford. I also was riding in a Raptor, which they did an off-road thing, and that's just amazing. I got tons of video that I'm going to put up there, so you can check it out over at Geekazine.com. Of course, the July 4th weekend, well, it's not really a weekend, it's more July 4th week. Wednesday is July 4th. I figured, well, let's do the show a day early, a dollar better, because if it's a day late, it's a dollar short. But if it's a day early, is it a dollar better? I don't know. Anyway, I'll figure that out. The whole point is that I decided to put out this show a day early so you can consume it on your Tuesday so you can have a lot of fun on July 4th. If you still need a podcast to listen to, there's always the Day in Tech History, which runs 365 days a year. That will never change. But I figured might as well get this out beforehand and get you going from there. Now, a couple things just so you know, as you see, it looks a little bit different here, and that is because I got some new lights. And I don't think I positioned them right because I'm looking at this. It's got this, it's not a bad look, but it definitely shows some shadows. I'm going to have to figure out some backlighting and stuff like that to really make this area pop a little bit more. But the front lights are just completely blinding me. I can barely see the screen in front of me. So, it happens there. And, of course, it brings down the heat in this room. I still have one other white light on just to kind of measure it all out. But, yeah, with the heat, it's like 103,000 outside. And so just to counter the heat, these LED lights, they give out almost very little heat. They still give out some heat, but just very little, a lot less than before. So, had a lot of fun. Just everybody have fun on July 4th. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Don't text and drive. Wear your seatbelt. And, of course, don't drink and set off fireworks. If you are drunk and you want to set off some sparklers or stuff like that, that's still not that great. But if you've got some of the cool fireworks, just be safe. Be safe and be smart about everything. That's all I'm going to say. That's my public service announcement for this week. All right, before we get into the news, we got a few things I'm going to show you right here. And where's my zoom in? I don't have my zoom in anymore. Well, we'll have to do it this way. First of all, like I said, I was at the Go Further with Ford. There's the badge right there. And we're going to put that into the badge bin with all the other events, including CES and South by Southwest. There we go. Okay, lots of other events in there. So we've got all my badges for the last 5 years of all the events that I went to can be found right there. Okay, next thing is, as you know, I have two phones in front of me. Well, if you're listening to the show and not watching the show, you don't know that I have two phones in front of me, but I do have two phones in front of me. First one is my iPhone 3GS right there. And then this next one is the Nokia Lumina 900. Windows Phone. Let's see if there's the tiles right there. Let's zoom it in, and we got some LED light. There we go. Zoom it in. There's my tiles. You can see all my pictures and stuff like that. Internet Explorer. I got the phone while I was at Ford. I was talking to Microsoft, and I'm testing out the phone for a week to see what it is like, because I've had this for 3 years. I love this phone. I can't wait for the next version of the iPhone to come out. That's when I was going to make my move to go to the 4G. But they gave me this one. I'm going to play with it for a little while. It's got, it's pretty comparable in speed, and it's got a lot more. So I'm just, including 4G. So I'm going to run this. Now, the one thing I'm going to tell you right now, so I can, I guess, document this for anything. I went to the AT&T store, and I have the unlimited plan with the 3GS. I have an unlimited plan with the 3GS. I thought if I switched to this phone that I would lose my unlimited plan. When I called AT&T, they said I would lose the unlimited plan. However, when I went to the store, the AT&T store, and I said, I'm switching over to here. I'm pretty sure I'm going to lose my unlimited plan. They said, no, you're not. You're not going to lose your unlimited plan. In fact, when you get your new iPhone and you get a new 2-year contract, you're not going to lose your unlimited plan then. I said, are you sure? And he goes, yeah. So I'm supposed to have unlimited on this phone, unlimited data on this phone, because I've been an iPhone subscriber for over 3 years. We'll see what happens in the upcoming months. I just want to tell you guys that and let you know from there. All right, the spotlight. I feel like I'm being grounded in this. Where were you on September 25th? I don't know. Where were you on Saturday? Oh yeah, one more thing. You got to congratulate me. I think I'm the only straight male guy that actually went to see Magic Mike without coercion. Did it on Sunday. Yeah, I went to a couple movies on Sunday. We went to see Ted, and then we went to see Magic Mike. And the one thing about movies like that is there's enough for men as there is for women. You just don't look at the scenes for the men or the women. You look for the scenes for the men. Just leave it at that. The whole point is I looked in the theater. There were 2 other guys in the theater, and I'm going to tell you that they probably weren't straight. It's an assumption. I'm being stereotypical, I guess, in that part, but I could probably put money down on that one. So, nonetheless, I was the only straight guy in the theater, and probably the only man to see Magic Mike without being coerced into seeing, because I wanted to see it. I thought it was a decent movie. So, anyway, enough about that. We'll say, let's get into your tech smack.
Tech smack.
All right, yeah, I know. Okay, so we've got that all figured out and done and so on and so forth. And we're going to start over at WashingtonPost.com. By the way, you might hear a little rattle in the background. That's the actual fan. Like I said, it's 100 degrees. I've got the air on at a pretty good blast here. And it's still pretty warm in this room with the lights on, so a little bit of sweat on the brows. But anyway, we're going to start over at WashingtonPost.com. We're going to talk about Google, and they had their I/O conference last week. And, of course, a couple new things came out. The Nexus 7, which is their tablet, looks pretty boring. And a lot of people are saying looks pretty boring. It's not an iPad killer, that's for sure. Will it be a Nook or a Kindle Fire killer? Well, that remains to be seen. But the bottom line is this thing was not impressive, and which I think is stupid. I think if Google wants to put something out, they need to put it out. I mean, and I don't understand what's going on with Google. Have they gotten too big to worry about things, to worry about people like me? With YouTube, a lot of my videos lately have been flagged for copyright violation. There's absolutely no copyright violation in my videos. I had a one-on-one video with Bill Ford and David Kirkpatrick. There was no audio in there other than their voices. There was no video. There was nothing in there, and they still denied it revenue share. Here's another case in point, Google Plus. I mean, that's the one thing that I hate about this phone is the fact that there's no Google Plus on there. I can go to the web browser and do Google Plus, but that's just a pain. But, I don't understand it. They're starting to act a little bit like Yahoo. Yahoo's like, ooh, brand new toy. We got Flickr. We got GeoCities. Okay, well, what's next? Now we've got this. Oh, look at this. We got business. We got Zynga. Or not Zynga, but I've already ruined it. But you get the idea. Yahoo was always like that. They were like, ooh, shiny new toy. Okay, let's go to the next thing. And it's like that. Now Google's kind of doing that. It's like, ooh, here's Google Plus. We put together Google Plus. Here it is. Okay, now we're gonna go over to YouTube, or we're gonna go over to Nexus 7. I don't know. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know. You can Twitter me. Here's my Twitter handle. Geekazine is my Twitter handle. You can see this. Literally, it's 100 degrees outside. This is crazy. So Geekazine is the Twitter handle. Geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. I feel like Richard Nixon in the debate. No, I did not. It's hot in here. I'm not taking off all my clothes. Anyway, let's go over to mercurynews.com. Apple's going to be paying $60 million to settle an iPad case. It's been a long outstanding case. Apparently, in 2009, they bought the rights from a company in China called Shenzhen ProView Technology, and they didn't get any documentation. They didn't get any contract that says, yeah, we sold it to them. So now they're going to be paying $60 million to use the term iPad in China. So Apple doesn't always have their stuff together. I'm just telling you that right now. So you want to read more on that, go over to mercurynews.com. Let's move over from there to Computer World. Micron is buying struggling Elpida Memory, which is a memory company, for $2.5 billion. They took over the $1.75 billion of their debt. And because of that, they're also taking another company that Elpida apparently had part in or something like that. So, and of course, this is all DRAM. This is all the memory inside your computer. So if you want to read more on that, go over to computerworld.com. Moving from there, we're going over to LA Times. Facebook, you probably saw this last week. Facebook had an email switch, which apparently took your email address that was in Facebook and then changed it to whatever at facebook.com. Now, 3 months ago, they had some beta program or something like that where you could actually get a facebook.com email address, and I signed up for that then. So it didn't switch my email address because I already kind of manually did that. But they made the switch for you if you didn't sign up for a facebook.com email address, and then they put that in as the default. So if it was whatever at gmail.com or whatever at yahoo.com or whatever.com, they would have changed it to your username at facebook.com. So if you're having problems logging in, use your username at facebook.com, see what happens there. So now I'm looking at these lights are kind of, they're definitely putting me in a spotlight effect here. So you see the glossiness off of me. Let's move on from there. We're over at latimes.com. Going over to TechCrunch. YouTube is now, this is exactly what I'm talking about right here. Let's switch over here. And it's not showing up. Let's try this. Let's go over here. Well, for some reason, the video is not showing up, so we'll just go back to the main camera here. So you'll just have to see me sweat on camera. Sorry. Over at TechCrunch.com, YouTube and Google+, they basically are merging a little bit more. Apparently, you can now switch your username to your Google+ profile, so you can unionize them a little bit more. I'm not going to do that myself because my YouTube channel is Geekazine and my Google+ profile is Jeffrey Powers. If I can unionize it with my Geekazine business page, that will be a different story, and I'll do that then. But right now, not going to do that. I'll leave it as it is. If you want to read more on that, go over to TechCrunch.com. From there, we're going over to PC World. Best Buy has cut down prices on MacBook Pro. So if you've bought a new MacBook Pro with Retina display, you missed out on $112, $110 in a discount, because that's how much Best Buy is now has the Retina display MacBook Pros out for. I priced out my MacBook Pro because I can't have the regular i5 model. I've got to have the top of the line. And that came out to like $4,000. So $110 off of $4,000. I won't be able to get it at Best Buy, though. That's for sure. I'd actually have to get that through Apple.com to get that. But if you are looking to get yourself a Retina display on your MacBook Pro, then you can check this out and save yourself $110. Moving from there, we're going over to CBS News. Twitter has cut off service to LinkedIn and made some changes to the API, which basically have a lot of people in really concerned about things. Well, to begin with, let's just talk about it this way. LinkedIn and Twitter have been together for a long time, for a couple of years now. and they have this union has been basics for a lot of people and how they work. You can tweet and you can post to Twitter and it moves to LinkedIn and there's no problems. Nowadays, you can't do that. Just can't do it anymore. So now you'll have to go to LinkedIn separately from Twitter or something like that. I don't know if TweetDeck will lose the LinkedIn module on there. I don't know how that will work out, but the bottom line is that we're pretty much out of luck with this, and this is really concerning me for how Twitter is going to work. Is Twitter planning to go into some sort of closed model? Are they they've been doing a lot of things that have threatened third-party devices, third-party companies, which leads me, which leads me to my next article. That article is at cbsnews.com. This one's over at the Next Web, and I wish I could show it for you, but I have to figure out why this isn't working. The bottom line is this. There's a lot of companies that are looking to sell their Twitter base. They came in, they said, we're going to build this thing because there's an open API for Twitter, and we're gonna just help them out, and we're going to make some money as we go. Now Twitter's kind of closing those doors, and they're going, well, wait a minute, we don't want to be stuck. We don't want to be the one that gets left holding a bag. Our $5 million company now is a $10 company because we have no Twitter API, because that's part of our business model. Interesting how things change. So basically what they're doing, there are a couple, TwitHawk is one of them, has decided to put up their company for sale because they don't want the risk. Now there's a chance that Twitter might not close an API for some places like TwitHawk, and they'll be just fine. But they don't want to take the risk. So they're selling their company for $5,000. And there's a few other companies thinking of doing it and actually doing it. So pretty cool article. You can check this out over at thenextweb.com. All right, and that's the end of part one. I'm going to take some sweat off of my brow and get into the Geek Smack side of things. And we're going to do that right after this.
Geek Smack.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I had to kind of pause the video and start on the second half here and go from there because the lights were just way too shining in my face. I still gotta work them out. I thought I could get them done within an hour, but once again, like I said, with all the heat and everything, and just standing here for an hour and molting, I actually saw the leaves on trees fall off the trees. That's how dry it is here right now, and that's very odd for this area. So we'll get through it. We'll do the second half of the show, and we'll get you on your way. Of course, the second half of the show, like I said, we're ad free, but I will show you it is sponsored by Day in Tech History. Remember, www.dayintechhistory.com. It's my other website. You can go over there and what's it doing? Let's do that. There we go. I got the screen working, by the way. This is where you go for all the tech history stuff. Like on today, July 2nd, Napster shuts down after injunction. So you can check that out over at dayintechhistory.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the Geek Smack side. And, of course, I really needed the screen so I could show you some of this stuff. Like, for instance, this first one from PCWorld.com. Check this out. How many Lego bricks would it take to actually build a house? Well, you probably wondered that, and I know I've wondered that. Well, now we have a good answer. As I'm in screen, let's do that. There we go. Now we have a good answer. It takes 10,835,043 Legos to build a 2,179 square foot 2-story house. It's a cost of $1 million. So if you're thinking of actually building a Lego house, it's going to cost more than building a house. Just saying. Anyway, if you want to check that out, go over to PCWorld.com. Moving from there, we're going over to failblog.org, one of my favorite ones. If you've lost a parrot, here, check this out. You lost a parrot. They're looking for their parrot. But, hey, if you go down the pole a little bit more, parrot barbecue, baby. Time to get some barbecue on. A little bit. And it says come here early because supplies are limited. So Pretty cool stuff. If you're looking for some parrot barbecue, there you go. And that's over at failblog.org. Moving from there, we're going over to blogspot.com, Times New Geek. They're showing off the World of Warcraft, not Claft, World of Warcraft. What is that? That's crazy. World of Warcraft has got their collector's edition for Monopoly, and you can check it out there. So we've got that over here at timesnewgeek.blogspot.com. Of course, we got all the show notes. You can go over to the show notes to check it all out there. All right, moving from there, we're going over to geeksaresexy.com. They are sexy. Look at me. I'm sexy and I know it. Wet, 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 wet. Anyway, if you have a Spitfire engine or you like Spitfire engines and you want to learn how to put together a Spitfire engine, well, worry no more because they have it right here. How to rebuild a Spitfire engine. It's a stop motion video basically. So it took about 11 months and they have 3,000 pictures on this putting together the Spitfire engine. So if you're interested, if you're a car geek, then this will be for you over at geeksaresexy.com. Moving from there, BuzzFeed has the 14 absolute craziest shots from this archer right there to a basketball thing to a tennis match and some guy in yellow shoes. It's kind of crazy, but he's there with yellow shoes. And then some sort of throw music bunk or something like that. I could play them, but then copyright issues, and then YouTube's bringing down another one of my videos. Don't want to deal with that anymore. So if you want to check that out, go over to BuzzFeed.com. All right, that does bring us to the end of the geek section. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and of course, I'm not looking at that camera. I'm looking at that camera. Geekazine is my Twitter handle. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com is where you go for all the Geekazine stuff. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about the Chrome browser and the Firefox browser now on your favorite iOS device, and we'll do that next. All right. I got to get the right thing up here. Sorry about that. I hope you're having fun. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to Twitter me, Geekazine, and of course, geekazine@gmail.com is the email address. Hopefully this lighting situation will look a little bit better. I'll get it worked out. To take another week and get it really worked out. But first of all, hey, you might have seen this, of course, last week. We talked about Mozilla and how they're creating Firefox Junior for the iPad and the iPhone. And then, of course, Chrome came out with their Chrome iOS app. And I'm impressed. I love the Chrome app, and I love the Chrome app on iOS. But there's only one small problem, and that is it can't be the default browser. Safari is the default browser, and I hate the Safari browser. Hate it. And, well, I don't have to worry about it on my phone anymore, my mobile phone for a while, since I have Internet Explorer on that one. I am reminded, though, about 15 years ago when Netscape was trying to get their browser on Microsoft Windows. Yeah, it's a little bit of comparison here. I'm telling you that right now. That started, of course, the antitrust trials, which then Microsoft lost and technically split up, even though you probably don't even realize they're more than one company, but they are. And, of course, they've gone through a lot of antitrust since then. Now we're seeing the same issue with Apple iOS. Here you can have another browser on, but no, you can't. I can't make it the default browser. You still have to use Safari for a lot of the stuff that you do. As long as Apple doesn't send that letter, that do not compete letter, I suppose they're fine, maybe. But on the next iOS, will we actually see the option? I'm impressed with Chrome's iOS app. I really want to put it on my iPad and make it the default. I tried Yahoo Access. It was great, but then after like 3 or 4 days, it's like, there's a lot of things that I don't care too much for with it, and I'd like to have just a browsing app, something that doesn't do too much thinking for me, because there's a lot of times that it just doesn't work. Firefox, of course, is not out yet, but I really hope to see that exact same browser experience from the desktop as I will see on the iOS device, because I know they can do it. Of course, minus the plugins and extensions, but I know that they can do it. Maybe they can put in the plugins and extensions. That would be great. And then I have a good reason to get rid of one of my desktops, one of my laptops right here. I wouldn't have a reason to keep one of these around. Now the question is, are we going to see the option of the change for the default browser? With iOS, of course, on the next version of iOS, what's called iOS 6, they're taking the maps out of Google's hands and putting it into Apple's hands. A lot of people are speculating that you'll have the option to switch back to Google Maps if you want to. Will the browser do the exact same thing, or will we be stuck with a single browser with all these secondary browsers that we can put onto our iOS device, but we can't use in a regular basis? I don't know. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine at gmail.com. We do have the hotline of 608 205 4378. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Yeah, it was a shorter show, but, it's flipping hot in here. And, like I said, more sweat's coming down the brow. So we're just going to call it for this week. And, of course, we're going to be back next week. We have had a lot of great news, so let me know what you thought. If you liked the Iowa conference, if you attended it, please let me know. We've got the videos for Ford coming up, including the Ford football field experience that I had. And then, of course, over at the Day in Tech History, I'm going to have some video of the Ford Museum. Their museum's humongous, and it's more than just cars. It's technology, it's electricity, it's furniture. It's the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile is in there. I'm serious. I'm very serious. So check those videos out as they come through. So in the meantime, my name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening over on Stitcher Internet Radio. If you don't have Stitcher Internet Radio, all you have to do is go over to stitcher.com/geek and you could win yourself $100. All right, thanks a lot and we will see you next time on another episode. Hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler outside and I won't be sweating as much. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, geek out. Geek out.